how do we transmute fear into freedom? Fear is a belief that's out of alignment. So when you have a fear belief, you can always recognize the fear belief, and you can change it by saying, I do not agree to this anymore. I do not want to experience this anymore. And over time, it will transmute. However, a lot of people have really deep fears, and it's kind of like an onion. You have to keep peeling them back, you know? If you don't want to experience it anymore, keep saying you don't want to by changing your beliefs and what comes out of your mouth, basically. You know, what you speak is called a spell. That's why they call it spelling. So that creates that in your reality. So if you don't want it in your reality anymore, change your beliefs and reprogram your subconscious mind. Now, other people have taken it to other steps where they can actually take courses to help deprogram the mind, like theta healing was what Shey took. It teaches way more than just reprogram the subconscious mind. So that is something that actually she guides her clients to. And then you have people like Joe Dispenza, you know, you have Mind Valley. There are many, many different people teaching on how to reprogram your subconscious mind here on the earth plane. What is the role of shadow work in awakening? As we said before, shadow work is basically moving the fears and traumas out of your system, anything dark. So it can be from this lifetime or other lifetimes that are coming through. And once you transmute them, then you actually they leave the body, and then your body can hold more light as the light codes are coming in. As we said, you are all here on your own path, so not everybody is meant to, let's just say, ascend to the 5D path, but it doesn't mean that people aren't here not transmuting trauma and fears from themselves. So a lot of people came in to do that as well, but not necessarily be on the 5D path. So if you're on the 3D path and you're transmuting all your fears and traumas, you're here on that path because you chose to. So your souls all chose different paths. So if somebody's on one path and somebody's on another path, and the difference is they might not even appear in your reality anymore. Over time, things are going to start splitting more and more from the 3D to the 5D, and you eventually will no longer see the people in the 3D that, you know, if you're in the 5D. Okay, thank you. How can we permanently clear non-divine attachments? Okay, let's just start by this. A lot of you agreed to have different experiences while you were here. While you're here, you could have initiations happen, like having spirits attached to you or having entities and things of that nature, because it gets you into the realm and the spiritual realm of helping other people, and these things, remove these things from them as well. So if you have these experiences, they are initiations to help you get to the point to where later you know how to remove them, and you can help other people and humanity as well on their path. Now, why do people agree to things like this? Because it's part of the experience. They wanted to experience those things. So if your soul agreed to experience it, you're going to experience it. You know, if something keeps happening and you don't know why, and you've done all the work, it's because your soul still wants you to experience it. However, if you do not feel like it is something your soul wants you to experience, then that is a belief that you need to change. Your beliefs create your reality. Your higher self is doing everything for your highest good, or what you agreed here to learn to come to do or experience. Thank you. What do the records say about nervous system repair? Your nervous system is part of your body, your physical body. However, the nervous system doesn't necessarily regulate all the fears and traumas that are going on in your body. A lot of people teach you about this, but that's not necessarily true. You are, but let's just say, holographic in nature. The nervous system, though, is impacted by what you have in your reality and things that you interact with in your reality. And that impacts your physical body and how it responds. So calming the nervous system is something you want to learn to do. However, it's not necessarily something that you know, is going to help completely transmute things like people have been saying. We know Shey has seen a lot of this, and we're here to tell you right now that's not necessarily the case. So sometimes it can be, but sometimes it's not. So having a reading helps if you want to know what's going on. You can access your Akashic Records yourself. You know, you can take Linda Howe's method. You can get by her book, you know, how to read the Akashic Records. These are all things anybody can do. Everybody can access their own Akashic Records. Thank you. What practices help us reclaim fragmented soul parts? Your soul parts necessarily aren't actually what people think. So let's just say you're a child and you fragment off other aspects of you because there was fear or trauma around it. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's some part that you needed to completely integrate again. It just means you fractaled off and had different experiences. However, there is traumas in your childhood that you would need to heal within the body. So sometimes people call it soul fragment work, and that they're embodying their inner child again, and you know, holding that part dear to them that went off track. But that's not necessarily what is happening with the question. So we would like to say this: soul fragmentation happens when you make different decisions in your life. However, you do have different parts that have fractaled off. However, when you have traumas, though, those are something that you need to heal within the body and resolve those issues in order to hold more light, as if you're on the path of the 5D ascension path.